Reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers, and if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Don't allow uninvited guests to take over your home. Trust Bats to Rats for a peaceful and rodent-free living space.
Need service on your home air conditioner? No matter what brand you have, just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
Save money on energy-efficient equipment with the LES Sustainable Energy Program. Nearly half of the financial incentives are still available for qualifying projects. View incentives and learn more at les.com/SEP.
The wait is almost over. The Guardians of Freedom Air Show is the hottest event in the area. Coming to Lincoln's Air Park on Saturday, August 26th and Sunday, August 27th. Elevate your air show experience with tickets to the premium seating tent, padded seats, meals, and more for just $125. Premium tickets are going fast, so buy yours today. To purchase premium tickets and for more information, visit LincolnAirShow.com. We'll see you at the Guardians of Freedom Air Show in late August.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Adam Carriker on The Ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, first and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome, everybody, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket, the fastest hour in radio each and every week, each and every Monday from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Come join me, grab your lunch. Let's have some fun. Let's talk Husker sports. Let's talk Nebraska football. Let's talk sports in general. We're going to chat a little College World Series today, each and every Monday, noon to 1 p.m. Have lunch with yours truly. It's the fastest hour in radio each and every week here on 93.7 The Ticket. We got a plethora, fun word to say, kind of like Piscataway. I like saying Piscataway, where Rutgers is in New Jersey. Plethora of things to talk about today. Nebraska got a plethora of commits, scholarship guys, walk-on guys, okay, over the past few days. I want to talk about them. I want to talk about why building a pipeline in-state recruiting-wise is important. And it's been talked about before, okay, but I'm going to point out some obvious things. I'm going to point out some things that just kind of annoy me, okay, when I see players from Nebraska coming into Memorial Stadium wearing that rear-end ugly Iowa jersey and throwing the bones, because I don't want to see that no more. I want to see Nebraska guys throwing the bones in the face of Iowa guys, whether it's in Memorial Stadium or at Iowa on their home field and other schools as well. We're going to talk about, actually, I got a special guest today. I got a special guest every week. But Rico, the producer of this show, he does a phenomenal job. He does a great job when he speaks with the microphone in front of his face. He's an educated guy. He's fun to listen to. He's going to be joining me today at 12:30, and we're going to be chatting Husker sports. We're going to be chatting about Nebraska's top in-state recruit. All right. Is he going to be coming to Nebraska? Is he going to be joining his brethren, Carter Nelson? We're going to be talking College World Series with him. I'm going to give him the chance to make fun of me if he'd like to, because we're getting to know each other. Okay. And I'm going to ask, he can say anything he wants. All right. He can embarrass me if he'd like, being the producer of this show. Like, one thing I'll tell you, I sit down here usually about 3 minutes before we're going to record the show every week, because I spend about 90 minutes prepping for this show every week. So it's always like right up against the clock. And I tend to drink a whole bottle of water He probably thinks I'm hacking my brains out because I'm coughing so much, but it's because I'm trying to clear my throat, get mentally ready, get my whistle wet, so to speak. So that's something that he could have shared, but I just shared and I exposed myself. But it's cool. We're going to have fun with Mr. Rico. And then at the end of the show, as always, the people segment. Okay, call or text your questions. We keep track of them throughout the show. 402-464-5685. Again, call or text your questions. The last 10 minutes of this show each and every week is dedicated to the people's questions, the people's segment, 402-464-5685. This hour is going to go quickly. It always does, so let's light this candle. Let's start right off the top. All right, Daniel Kalen. He's been committed to Nebraska for a bit now. All right, Nebraska's 2024 quarterback commit. And, I mean, Dylan Raiola would have been phenomenal to have. And, you know, I'm not trying to say anything negative, anything positive, but even when we were pursuing Dylan, it would have been great to get him. My gut was just like, you know, he's been to 3 different high schools in 3 different years, and now he's going somewhere else. So 4 different high schools in 4 years. So take that for however you want to take it for whatever it's worth. But Daniel Kalen is an incredibly talented guy. All right. I'm sure you're aware of that. Invited to the Elite 11 camp, so he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Been wanting to play at Nebraska. Words straight out of his dad's mouth since he was in the 8th grade. The moment the door was open, he came here. Missouri coaches were calling his parents, calling his dad, because he was a Missouri commit. What can we do? How do we keep him coming to Missouri? His dad basically said, there's nothing you can do. He wants to go to Nebraska. He's wanted to go there for years. All right, 6'3", 200 pounds, Bellevue West quarterback. In 11 games last year, 3,186 pass yards, 36 touchdowns, and 7 INTs. And again, when he was invited to the Elite 11 Academy, the guy showed out. The guy has got big-time potential. He's actually helping recruit other in-state recruits and getting them to commit. All right, his high school brethren, Bellevue West wide receiver duo, Davon Hall, Isaiah McMorris, are now coming to the University of Nebraska to join their high school quarterback. All right, so a little bit more about Isaiah. Number 2 recruit in the state of Nebraska. All right, he has 12 current offers. Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas State are some of the ones that I'm going to point out. You look at his wide receiver duo brethren that will be joining him, as well as Daniel, Davon Hall, the number 3 recruit in the state of Nebraska. All right. He also has about 12 offers, give or take. Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas State, etc. Now, Daniel himself, top quarterback recruit in the state of Nebraska. All right. Number 4 overall recruit in the state of Nebraska. And one of the things that's cool to me is the chemistry that these guys are already going to have when they step foot on campus. He will have been throwing passes and practices and games and getting to know these guys for years. So when they step foot here in the University of Nebraska, they're already going to have some of that chemistry. They're already going to know each other a little bit. And obviously there's going to be guys coming in that they don't know, and they're going to get to know them. But this is a bit of an advantage. I don't have to delve into it too much. It seems kind of obvious as to why. But this is something that's pretty cool. All right, when you get teammates like this coming together to a university, especially when it's in-state. All right, and when you start to look at the top 5 recruits in the state of Nebraska, okay, just looking at the state of Nebraska, recruiting the highly kind of ranked kids, and I take rankings with a grain of salt, all right? They matter. You know, look at the college rankings every year. It's Georgia, it's Alabama, it's Clemson, it's Oregon, it's Oklahoma, it's all these teams that are in the college football playoff every year. Now, I take it with a grain of salt because in the past, I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to get off into the weeds on this, but just to touch on it one more time, Nebraska's out-recruited just about every team in the Big Ten West just about each and every single season, yet we know how that's gone. So it matters. I also take it with a grain of salt because there's this thing of keeping players around. There's this thing of recruiting the right guys. There's this thing of understanding what you want the final product to be and recruiting guys that fit that final product, not just recruiting talented guys because they may come or go and they may not fit what you're trying to do. They may not fit the culture, the offense, the identity that you're trying to have. Well, we now have an idea. We know what our identity is supposed to be on offense. Okay, we're going to run the ball first. We're going to be physical, smash mouth. That's what we want to be. So we got to build a culture towards that. We got to recruit players towards that. Not just talented guys, but guys that fit that mold, guys that want to be developed, guys that want to buy in. All right. I've argued for Lord knows how long, Nebraska kids are going to be more likely to do that. No, they have not grown up watching Nebraska win championships year after year after year like Nebraska kids used to, but it still matters. It still matters. You're much closer to home, so you're much less likely to leave, to transfer. If you did grow up a Nebraska fan, okay, so I was born in Hastings. When I was 3, my dad's job took me upstate of Washington. So I grew up worshiping Nebraska football from halfway across the country. My second favorite team was the Washington State Cougars. Why? Because Pullman, Washington was 2 hours away from where I grew up. With the exception of about 2 years out of the past 25, Washington State's been pretty god-awful. But did you hear what I said? They were still my second favorite team. There's something to be said for geographic location, okay? You're going to naturally root for teams that are closer to you way more often than not. You're going to have more loyalty. It's going to matter. Things I've talked about before. Now, when you start to look at the top 5 recruits in the entire state of Nebraska, we have 3 of the 5 committed. All right. The number 5 in-state recruit at Nebraska, offensive tackle, Caleb Pyfrom from Omaha, okay, is predicted to come to Nebraska. That'd be nice. Now we got 4 of the 5. Carter Nelson. A lot of folks think he's going to choose Nebraska, I was kind of hoping we'd get an announcement yesterday so I could talk about it on today's show. I haven't heard anything yet. If something happens during the show, let me know, by God. But if he would commit, he's a top 100, maybe even top 50 player in the country, according to some. You could have the top 5 players from the state of Nebraska coming to Nebraska. Holy Moses Malone. I'm not one of those guys that likes to drink too much Kool-Aid, but I do like to sip it from time to time. It just makes life more enjoyable, especially if it's red. All right. You look back, and again, you can see me as a former Nebraska guy because I was born in Hastings. My entire dad's side of the family lives in Aurora, Hastings, Grand Island. My wife's side of her family, farmers in western Nebraska, Ogallala, Lake Mac, okay? Or you can see me as a guy from halfway across the country who grew up worshiping Nebraska from halfway across the country, and I'm nothing more than a city slicker. That's okay. I'm good with either way, how you want to look at it. I don't want to pound the Nebraska recruiting thing too much. I just think it matters because you look back, 1997, on that national championship offense, 9 of the starters were from the state of Nebraska. Okay, and last recruiting class this past year, the one that's officially been signed, 2023, we had the most amount of in-state recruits commit to the University of Nebraska since 1998. So obviously Matt Rule thinks this matters too. It's important to him. Okay, and so far, if you look at the top 10 recruits in the state of Nebraska, how they're ranked, again, I always take it with a grain of salt, matters, but small grain of salt. 7 out of the 10 are predicted to come to Nebraska at this moment in time. All right, so to me, those are some interesting things I think that matter. Don't want to blow them too out of proportion. Okay, you got the 500-mile radius. Rules got connections to Texas. You got the speed guys from Florida. How can you forget about some of the great players we've recruited from the state of Florida? Mr. Tommy Frazier comes to my mind immediately. The Calibraska movement, that didn't go great, but that's okay. How do you get better if you don't learn? How do you learn if you don't make mistakes and stub your toe? You go to the weight room. You don't get stronger by walking around. You get stronger by lifting weights. What's that do? It tears down your muscles so they can build them back up and you become stronger. That's how you become stronger. That's how you become stronger as a program. For me, we start winning more games here in the near future, I'll have an appreciation for it. I don't think I'm alone in that. Most people would be happy just getting back to a bowl game. Hey, let's get to a bowl game. There was a point in time where getting to a bowl game was like, really? That's all we did? And it was justified at that point in time. Get back to a 9-win season? We all know we fired 9-win coaches in the past. We get back to that. There's going to be an appreciation for it. Hopefully Matt Rule's the guy that can get us there. Okay? I got to be honest. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The more I learn about Matt Rule, the more I like him. At the end of the day, got to win football games. We all know that. But I like what I've seen so far. All right. Let's talk about some of these other guys that have committed recently. Also committed to Nebraska, Omaha North DB Donovan Jones. He's also listed as an athlete, 6'1", 185 pounds. He could be moved all over in a variety of ways in a 3-3-5 defense. Now, he's not quite as highly recruited as Daniel Kalen, Isaiah McMorris, or Davon Hall. But here's the deal. I've always said it's not who you are when you walk through the door. It's what you do once you're in the building. That's always been my attitude. Okay? Player development. Matt Rule's big on player development. Now, you look at Donovan's frame. All right. He's a guy who has a good frame. Get in that weight room, get bigger, faster, stronger. I truly mean it when I say he could be moved all over the place in a variety of ways in a flexible 3-3-5 defense, depending on how he develops, how he gets in that weight room, whether he develops or does not. But that potential is there. I don't talk a lot about this, but for those that don't know, I wasn't anywhere near as highly recruited or rated as other defensive ends that came in my class. That's not a positive, it's not a negative. If you go back and look, it's just a statement of fact. I don't mean it as anything else. Okay? I was going to bust my butt. I was not going to leave. I was even lied to at one point about how many snaps I was going to play. Did not happen. But I wasn't going anywhere. Nebraska was my dream school. I don't know if this is smart to talk about. Certainly not bragging about it. But I got carted off the field, gated off the field once, maybe twice, because I passed out after throwing up, after maybe not being smart in my workouts. As a true freshman, I tried to run with the DBs, and I did for half of it. And then the other half, I was busy throwing up on the field and being carted off because I passed out. But I was going to lay it all out. And whether I succeeded or failed, other people can judge. And at that point in time, my attitude was whether I was going to succeed or fail, I honestly didn't know. But I was going to die trying. I knew that. You want guys like that. And those are the types of guys that Matt Rule's going after. He's made that very, very clear. Now, let's talk about some of the walk-ons. Walk-on fullback from Cross County, Isaac Dickey. I know a lot of people get excited when they hear that word fullback. I get excited. I'm curious to see how much he'll actually be used in the offense. I genuinely am. Again, I'm going to come back to the fact that fullbacks have just as much impact in specific situations, short yardage, goal line, and special teams. Huge in special teams. Okay? Walk-on kicker, and I practice this name. I hope I do it somewhat justice, Nico. So Nico Adamanelli. Ooh, I hope I got that right. Also, walk-on quarterback from Iowa Western, Luke Longva, and walk-on wide receiver from Washington State, Cooper Wilson. Now, Matt Rule's made no secret of the fact that he loves speed. Was it Bobby Bowden who said, speed, you either have it or you're chasing it? It is a Bobby Bowden quote. Speed, either you have it or you're chasing it. He might know a thing or two about winning. He might know a thing or two about speed. Okay? Matt Rule loves speed, and then he loves to try to develop it and train it and coach it. Cooper Wilson's got that. They've all committed to Nebraska. All right. It's this crazy thing. It's almost like Coach Rule believes in recruiting good players from the state of Nebraska and developing the walk-on program. It's a bold strategy, folks. Let's see if it pays off for him. I almost said it's a bold strategy, Cotton, because I love the movie Dodgeball. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. They should make a Dodgeball too, but those are just my random, unnecessary sidebar thoughts. So, obviously, recruiting in the state of Nebraska, in my opinion, is important. That 500-mile radius matters. You've obviously got to go beyond those borders as well to get everything that you need. Whether you need speed from Florida or beef from Texas, that great athlete out of California that hasn't yet been refined, maybe overlooked, maybe highly recruited, and you get them. I do think when USC and UCLA join the Big Ten, it's exciting on multiple levels because now we are literally an East to West Coast conference. We are a national conference. Obviously, the amount of money that brings in is exponential. But the other thing I love is the Big Ten had no recruiting connection to the 4 major recruiting states or recruiting grounds. Okay? Florida, Texas, California, Georgia. Those are the top 4. The Big Ten had no direct connection to them with teams in their conference. We now have a direct connection to the most populated state in all of the U.S., which is California, and one of those major recruiting grounds. So now the Big Ten is going to be broadcast when USC and UCLA join across the entire country, coast to coast. We are now a national conference. We now also have ties to one of the hotbed of recruiting grounds in the country known as California. And let's be honest, the Pac-10, as it's soon to be, is hanging on. A lot of people predict it won't be around much longer. Who would have thought that when the Big 12 was just barely hanging on? The Big 12 went out and was proactive. The Pac-12 soon to be Pac-10, whether they change their name or not, I don't know. We were the Big 10 with 12 teams at one point, and then at one point the Big 12 had 10 teams, so accuracy doesn't seem to matter, but I digress. The Pac 59,000, whatever they're going to be called, they need to be proactive. They need to do something. They ain't going to be around. The SEC, the Big 10, going to be around. The ACC is trying to figure out what they're going to do. At least half the teams in their conference, which I've talked about here on this show before. The Big 12, I mean, they're building. They're trying to do something. Something tells me a lot of those Pac 59,000 teams are going to join the Big 10 or the Big 12 eventually. So here's my point. A lot of those California kids, they're going to be less likely to look at the other so-called Pac-10 schools or whatever you want to call them, Pac-12 schools, and they're going to look to the traditional Big 10 powers. And yes, we have struggled as of late, but if you were to list out the top 10 college football programs of all time, traditionally, we have to be in the top 10 somewhere. I don't know if you put us top 5 due to recent struggles and things of that nature, but we're definitely top 10. And so that's going to be appealing, especially if Matt Rule can kind of get us going in the right direction and start by just getting us to a freaking bowl game this year. Then build on that. All right. So we got a commercial break coming up here in just a few minutes. And then I'm going to be joined by the one, the only Rico. And I'll give him a proper introduction once he joins us. Keep sending me your questions, your comments, your concerns, your thoughts, whatever they are. Call or text 402-464-5685. I'll say it slower because that was a little bit fast. All right. Call or text 402-464-5685. And at the end of this fastest hour in radio, each and every week, the last 10 minutes is dedicated to the people's questions for the people's segment. All right. Rico's not only coming on to do an interview, the man's keeping track of the people's questions as well. He's doing like double or triple duty today. But these last couple of minutes before we go to the break, I want to talk about 3 quick things. The importance of building a pipeline recruiting-wise in state. I've kind of spent a lot of this first time talking about that, but I kind of alluded to it earlier. Okay, people tend to go where the people they know before them went. So if we can get a lot of these high school kids from the state of Nebraska and repair that relationship that was not so great between coaches at the university and the high school coaches and or high school programs along the state, if we can repair that, all of a sudden, Nebraska kids are going to look to come here first, and I will never, ever, hopefully, ever have to see another former Nebraska high school player come into the Memorial Stadium throwing the bones in our house at us. If you haven't noticed, that stuck with me from all those years ago, and there's other players I could point out, but building that pipeline is important. The importance of building up the walk-on program. I feel like people talk about the importance of the walk-on program, but then the walk-on program hardly ever gets talked about. That's why I wanted to talk about those guys today. I wanted to point out one of them is a sprint champion from his home state, Washington State. That matters. All right. Outside Nebraska's weight room, they've got the All-Americans up on the wall, pictures. They've got the captains from past years up on the wall. They've also got this section dedicated to walk-ons who went on to be All-Americans, walk-ons who went to win national championships, walk-ons who went on to be drafted into the NFL. If you haven't seen it, it's not a small list. I should actually count the exact number at some point. It's a large list. The next time I'm there, I will count it and I will relay that number on this program here. But every time I walk up and down that hallway, I always look at the names on that walk-on list because it's impressive to me. Some of my best friends from when I played were walk-ons. My wife, okay, she's the sister of a walk-on. Jeff McBride was a walk-on DN. Him and I became really good friends, and that's how I met my wife, Angie. Even to this day, those are the guys I tend to keep in contact probably the most, all right? The last thing I want to talk about before we head to this here commercial break, the importance of our head coach being visible throughout the state of Nebraska. Now, I'm not saying this has to be this way. Matt Rule has clearly made it an emphasis and a point to be out and amongst the people. I feel like, especially Facebook, Twitter too, I should do more things on Instagram. I haven't posted, 10 years. I had a marketing guy back in the day. I didn't want the Instagram. He made me get it, so he posted. Like my last post from like 10 years ago, and it was something he put up. Anyways, I digress. Not important. I feel like every time I get on Facebook, there's somebody posting a picture with Matt Rule. Here's why that's important. Beyond recruiting, beyond everything else, I feel like it brings the whole state of Nebraska into being a part of the program. Bo Pelini was a great coach. Okay, I asked Jared Crick last week, should he have been fired or not? It was a question I just thought, Jared would give a good answer to because he played for him. But Bo didn't have the best relationships with some people in the state, despite being a great football coach. Okay, Mr. Scott Frost, he wasn't always, visible. Likes to be a little bit more private. And every coach is different. That's cool. But when you have a coach who's willing to be out there and be active with the people and have his picture taken with the people of the state of Nebraska, it makes everyone feel like they're a part of the program. Because at times over the years, it's felt like it's been the program versus the media, maybe, or the program versus an AD, or the program versus this or that. It's much better for us to all be brought together. Then we all feel a part of the program. Just my thoughts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the newest, most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to novotnynutritionandwellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior.
I'm Chris Jackamick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackamick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize,
Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's effort. It's the entire dealership, sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Mostly sunny skies anticipated for today with an afternoon high of around 88. Northeast winds at around 10. Increasing cloud cover tonight, a low down to around 61. We will have a chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms for the first half of the day tomorrow, reaching up to a high of 88 once again. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket each and every Monday from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Grab your lunch, have some fun. Maybe I'll try to drop knowledge. Hopefully we'll get some in the here and there each and every week. The fastest hour in radio here on 93.7 The Ticket from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time every Monday. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor real quick. Now, I'm sure you've all driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without knowing it. 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money. Buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627. Also, send in your questions for the People segment here in a few minutes, 402-464-5685. But today I got a special guest, all right? And I'm going to give him the proper intro because I enjoy working with this man. He sends me topics every Sunday night, helps me out. I do my show prep and come Monday mornings for this hopefully fine program, but he helps me out immensely. He does a great job throughout the show, keeping me up to speed on what's going on and what's happening as well. All right. The Ticket's assistant program director, co-host of the Ticket Water Cooler and Happy Hour, and producer extraordinaire, Mr. Enrique Alvarez Clary, also known as Rico. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
Dude, I'm doing great. I don't know that I've ever actually seen you live before. This is awesome.
The one time we were doing the we're practicing, testing out the camera in the other room, but yes. No, that was just one time.
That was before we ever did an actual program. So it's good to chat with you. It's good to see you. So thank you for joining me because you were going to be here anyways. But thanks for joining me for the interview.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. This is amazing to be on your show with you.
All right, man. So I got some questions for you. Carter Nelson. All right, top 100, according to some sites, top 50 player, number one player in the state of Nebraska, all sorts of Power 5 interest. In your opinion, what makes him so highly thought of?
Now, to me, it's because this kid is supremely athletic. Because I went through, so he's anywhere from he's a top 10 tight end in the country. So he's as low as 7 in terms of tight ends in the entire country. But if you look at the other tight ends, they're sitting somewhere between 6'4" to, I think the tallest one was about 6'6", 6'7", from 220 to 245 pounds. Carter Nelson is a nice lean 6'3", 205, 215 if you look at his Twitter bio. But but a little lighter than the other tight ends. But what makes him special is his athleticism. I mean, at state track, where Nick Saban came to Nebraska to watch state track just for Carter Nelson, he was pole vaulting. I don't know how many tight ends I've ever heard of that actually pole vaulted. I didn't know they made poles that could hold that kind of weight. But to see him do these crazy athletic things and be one of the better players on Ainsworth basketball squad, be the best player on their football team. I mean, he's throwing passes, catching passes, throwing passes, catching passes, and running in touchdowns. Just does everything for that Ainsworth squad. I know they're playing 8-man, but still, it's supremely talented. It's amazing to see somebody with his size do the amount of things that he's able to do. I think that's what has him ranked so high. And it's crazy to think that an 8-man guy in tiny little Ainsworth, Nebraska, is a top 100 recruit in the country.
Dude, Nick Saban came to watch Nebraska high school track because of this guy. That's awesome. And Nick Saban's on the lake in the summer. So he not only made the trip here, he broke away from the lake in the summer. All right. So here's the obvious question. I got to ask it. After missing out on Dylan Raiola, how big? By the way, these are the questions you sent me. You probably recognize them. I'm just flipping them back on you, my man. How big would getting Nelson be for the Huskers?
I think it would be massive. Again, you're looking at this 24/7 rival sites, and you see that he's ranked in the top 100. And to me, I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, I told you he wasn't going to come here. But to me, Dylan Raiola to Nebraska was always a pipe dream. It was always one of those things where, I mean, he was committed to Ohio State at first. I don't know how many times Nebraska has been able to flip somebody lately from Ohio State to the Cornhuskers, and then having that Georgia offer, having them go back-to-back. He was in Arizona at the national championship game and met with Kirby Smart and all of them over there. So I always thought that it was going to be extremely difficult for Nebraska to flip him. So missing out on the number 1 recruit in the country obviously stings, but to turn around and get an in-state guy who is top 100, top 50, top 40, depending on where you look, might end up being a 5-star by the time his high school career is over, but right now it's just a high 4-star. That would be massive for Nebraska in terms of recruiting, because you look at it right now, you look at Danny Kaelin, who was their backup option, but as you said earlier, has always wanted to be a Husker, always wanted to go to Nebraska. What he's doing, peer recruiting, at least in the state, is nothing short of amazing. Being able to talk to his own high school teammates, Davon Hall and Isaiah McMorris, who are highly rated receivers in their own right, into committing to Nebraska at the same time, which I'm sure was just a blast for them. And then getting Carter Nelson, if they do get him to commit, that would just boost Nebraska in terms of not national recognition, but in national recruiting circles, from where they're at right now, I think 19th in the composite rankings. That'll take them even higher. And in terms of talking to all of these other athletes from around the country, I mean, being able to say, hey, look at Carter Nelson, who had a Georgia offer, an Alabama offer, Notre Dame, LSU, Tennessee, wherever he wanted to go, he could have gone. He chose Nebraska. Why don't you come and join him?
Yep. I'm tired, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I'm tired of other schools coming into our state and saying, look, we're taking all these Nebraska kids. Well, no, now we're getting kids that are choosing us over some of these big name schools. That's a big time thing right there. And if you see this thing on my hand on YouTube, I need to learn how to ride a bike. I need to learn how to ride a bike. I took a tumble. I'm good. Don't worry about me. It's embarrassing. I don't want to talk about it. All right. LSU in Florida. We can talk about it. I don't get embarrassed, but it's not important. LSU in Florida, College World Series Championship tonight. Who you got?
Before the College World Series started, I picked LSU.
So did I.
Tigers. Okay. It's Baton Rouge North. That's what Omaha is, and we love the Tigers up here. As the College World Series went on, I took about 4 pictures with the Demon Deacons mascot. So I was like, I gotta go for Wake Forest now. LSU beats Wake Forest. I'm back on the Tigers bandwagon. It's a tough situation because you have the best pitcher in the nation in Paul Skeens on that LSU roster. As one of my co-hosts put together the statistics, he's at like 239 pitches, for this College World Series as of right now. That's a lot of pitches on one arm. We're not sure if he's going to get the start. Actually, I don't think he's going to get the start. I think he should, and he'll give you a decent amount of innings just because of the fact that he's been a starter all season. He hasn't come out of the bullpen, so making him come out of the bullpen in the most important game of your season, I think that might throw him for a loop. But if you get him to start and he can give you 6 shutdown innings, and your offense can figure out how to wake up the bats and not only score and score some runs, and maybe Florida wasted all their runs yesterday with a 24-run outburst.
Wow.
You might be in a good position because you still have that supremely talented bullpen that although you went through about 5 pitchers yesterday, I don't think they used their good relievers yesterday.
So I got to come back. 24-4.
Yeah.
Okay, the Gators just stomp a mud hole in LSU and walked it dry. Can LSU bounce back from something like that in a 24-hour period with the national championship on the line?
You would like to think that they can. I mean, they've got their coach. He's only in his second year at LSU, but he's been around the game for a while. You've got guys who are experienced. They haven't won a national title since 2009, but they've been in the playoffs year after year after year. It's been a while since they've been back to Omaha, but they've been here every single year. It seems like they've been in the playoffs every single year. It seems like. But it's going to be hard. The thing is, if Florida hits a home run, is there going to be some type of PTSD for LSU where they see that ball go over the fence and just, here we go again? Because 24 runs is a lot.
Dude, that's high score for a football, decent score for a football game. You know what I mean? Decent, I guess. I mean, doesn't Iowa have to average 25 points this year or they're firing Brian Ferentz?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Their offense has to average what Florida put up yesterday.
Yeah.
Just to keep their offensive coordinator.
Yep. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. So admittedly, I have not watched. I watched a ton of the Women's College World Series. Okay. I got to watch tonight. I have not watched as much of the men's, but I'll definitely be tuning in tonight. All right, man. There is no restrictions on however you want to answer these questions. I exposed myself with the hacking and coughing and drinking of the water bottles before the show starts. And it's something I do before every show, so it's not new. The first time
one of the things.
Oh man! So
every time I get this started, we're getting ready to go. The open's it's like a minute away or something, and I look on the screen and you're just down in a water bottle.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, you do you, man.
Gone. And this is all that's left of this one.
Exactly.
Actually, that's all that's left, dude.
Yeah.
The first time I did a Carriker Chronicles, my wife's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "This is just my process. I know it's weird. You can record it and put it out on social media. I'm okay with that if you want." She obviously didn't. It's just my process. All right. So what's it like being the producer for the Adam Carriker show on the Ticket each week? And again, there's no restrictions on this. Have fun with it.
It is fantastic. It's fun. It's great to hear somebody with so much knowledge in not only football and a lot of sports just get on here. And it's impressive the way that you're able to talk by yourself with yourself for about an hour. I do this job every single day. And even then, if I have to do a solo show, it's like, all right, okay, hold on. I got to mentally prepare myself. I got to hype myself up to go for an hour to just talk. And I rely on the text line a whole bunch to give me feedback to let me know that I'm doing good. I need that positive reinforcement, that pat on the back from the people listening. But it's impressive to see you just go for an hour and just talk your talk, do your thing, and have all of this knowledge on everything. And I feel like I'm a little smarter every time I do this show, and I just get to listen to you talk. So I'm blessed to be able to be the producer for this show, and I'm blessed to be able to be able to talk to you almost every day. And I do apologize sometimes when I'm a little late with the rundown, especially yesterday. I was at a comedy show and it didn't get over until about midnight, so it took me a while to get the rundown to you.
Oh, you're great. You do good, and that's why I try to. Excuse me, I need a drink of water here real quick.
There's water. Man. What are you doing?
I got no more water, so hopefully I can make it. I'll be all right though. But that's why I started sending you the reminders on Sundays, because it's not because you weren't doing it. It's because, dude, it's Sunday. This guy's got a life. I'm just going to help make his life a little easier because you make my life a little bit easier. You do a great job. Okay, so I appreciate that. All right.
Thanks.
And as far as talking to myself for an hour, I don't know. I've done that ever since I was a kid, so it's just like another day for me. All right.
Now you just have a microphone in front of you. And
oh man, totally. Now I got to ask. We've had a lot of guests on. Okay. Mm-hmm. What's been, other than yourself, what's been your favorite guest we've had on the show so far?
Oh, you put me on a spot. Jared Cook was great.
Yep.
I want to say, I think I'm going to go with Westerkamp, though.
Okay.
Just hearing him, especially going through the process of his thought process during some of those amazing catches that he had in his time here at Nebraska, especially that the behind the back one that he had right on the sideline. He's like, I just kind of going through it, and I kept my hands on it, put my hands behind my back, caught it, got 1 foot, thought I got 1 foot in, ended up getting 2 in. It was just listening to him go through his whole process when he was doing that. It was really fun. But no, Jared Crick talking about, like you mentioned earlier, Bo Pelini and should he have been fired, and these guys that you have on that the former athletes, well, still athletes, you're all still athletes, that come on here and get to talk about it. It's just no restrictions. You're talking about it. You're not gonna have any repercussions. Nobody's gonna come for your head for what you said. So hearing them talk about their former coaches and their time here at Nebraska is really refreshing.
For sure. And last question I got for you, and this is just about the ticket in general. Dude, DP, Derek Pearson, is doing some awesome things. The ticket's going on some television channels now. He's expanding it, what he's done with YouTube. And I mentioned it when I first started doing this show. I would get on social media and like, holy cow, the ticket was everywhere on my timeline, especially on Twitter. So you're going to know better than me. You're going to know almost as much as DP. You're going to know better than just about anybody. What big things are in store for the future of 93.7, the ticket, that people don't know about yet?
Well, I'm sure for the most part, everybody knows, aside from some of the things that maybe I'm not allowed to talk about quite yet, everything else is pretty much out there. We've got the new downtown studio coming up in mid to late August that we'll be moving into. We'll be down there hosting our tailgate shows, some pregame, postgame, all that kind of stuff. We'll be partnering with the Mill and having people come down for coffee and food, and maybe we can get Adam to stop by at some point and come back into awesome. Nebraska and come do his show live from our new studios downtown. I mean, we've got, we've got all these amazing shows that are on each and every day. We've got the athlete shows that are on weeknights. We've got our weekdays that are chock full of things. But as DP loves to say, we're not done. We're still adding. We've got a bunch of new things coming, a bunch of new things in the works, just a couple more things to finalize. And you guys are going to love everything that's coming to 93.7 The Ticket. So just stay tuned, and we're going to have ourselves a blast.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. And for those who don't know, he's not only been being interviewed throughout this process. I texted him before the show. I'm like, who's going to keep track of the fan questions while you're being interviewed? He said, I can do both. No problem. So we're going to take a quick break. Thank you for joining me, Rico. And then we're going to get to the people segment, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your combine? Don't wait. Act now to choose from the widest selection of used combines at Acres Equipment. Acres, the nation's largest John Deere combine dealer, is offering 2.9% interest for 60 months on over 100 pre-owned combines. Go to acres.com to view a huge inventory of low-hour, late-model John Deere combines. Find what you like, and we'll deliver it to your farm for free. Acres, solutions for every field.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and our big summer sales event is underway this month. Right now, get 0.9% interest rates. Yes, you heard right. 0.9% APR on select new Chevrolet and GMC vehicles, plus a $1,500 trade-in bonus on select Silverados and Sierras. You put all that together with some big Coppell discounts, and you have a tremendous buying experience. So stop on into the dealership or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Can I go to the sleepover?
If there's any drinking, I want you to say, no thanks, not my thing.
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
There's never been a better time to earn more on your checking account. Open a free Kasasa Cash checking account with Liberty First Credit Union and earn up to 5.5% APY for up to $40,000. It's simple. Open your Kasasa Cash checking account online or stop into any of the 4 Lincoln locations or Seward and Omaha branches. Liberty First makes switching easy, and Kasasa checking is always free. See libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the final segment of the show. I'm going to continue to talk to myself, as Rico pointed out, but I've got questions to respond to. Thank you, Rico, for joining me. As always, you did phenomenal. Truly an easy man to work with. But I want to get to the people's questions here on the final segment of the Adam Carriker on the Ticket Hour, known as the People's Segment. Again, if you want to get your question read today, call or text quickly, 402-464-5685. First question is from A.A. Ron. Says, Adam, we're seeing Rule recruiting guys with size and speed and other intangibles, but how do you gauge heart, want to? Guys that give their all, play after play. 2 ways. Number one is film, and not so much when you're trying to gauge heart and things of that nature. It's not so much their playmaking ability if you're just trying to specifically look at heart. Who doesn't come off the field? Who is on the field play after play? Who's a little banged up? And if at all possible, they're still on the field. All right. And you talk to the high school coaches. What's this guy like in practice? When you're doing Oklahoma drill, is he the first guy to hop in? Or is he one of the guys hiding in the back that you got to push into the drill? Because that happens a lot. When I'm coaching and we do Oklahoma drill, that's the first thing I look at. Who hops in and who's hiding in the back that I got to grab to put in the drill? So who's there day after day in practice? Or who's got a boo-boo and standing on the side with ice on a bruise on their shin? Who's hopping in the front of those physicality drills? Who's leading? And when you watch the film, how hard are they fighting if they're an offensive guy to get yards after contact? Yak. On defense, how well do they tackle? Which a lot of that comes down to who wants it more. Do you want to tackle him more than he wants to be tackled? Also, just getting to know them, getting to know the family, chatting with the kid. You can get a feel for somebody. Okay, I once had a roommate in college. I walked into the room. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of descriptions, but I could just see, I don't think this guy's going to be the most physical player on planet Earth. And I'm not going to say that he was soft, but he wasn't the most physical player on planet Earth. And I don't mean to prejudge, but I had an open mind. But you can get to know people, okay, just by being around them, talking to the guys who coach them, watching practice, watching film, and looking for specific things. All right, next. Chase B says, Adam, do you think it's important for this year's team to look good so it doesn't scare away recruits like it looked like it did with Frost? Yes, I think it is important. I think it's important, and it's crazy because it's important at all ages. I mean, I'll just share with you a quick story. We're putting together this, hopefully, national competitive 8th grade tackle football team for my son so I watch all these basketball teams, baseball teams travel nationally. Very few tackle football teams do this, and I get the reason why, but I just wanted to do it so my son and the kids I've coached for years could have some fun, go to Vegas playing a tournament, go to Texas playing a tournament, not do it too much so you don't get beat up. But this past spring, we divided our team into 2 teams. And so we literally split the talent in half. So when we played average to below average teams, we kind of killed them. But when we played the upper echelon teams, we divided our talent so kids could get reps. And they throttled us a few times, and I'm okay with that. But it's funny because I just got some messages, and I'm not the head coach, but parents are reaching out to me saying, hey, the spring wasn't great. We're going to go elsewhere. And I'm like, hold on. We warned you the spring was going to be up and down because we're trying to get kids reps and we're going to come together for the fall. But in their minds, it's like, oh, the team didn't look great against upper echelon teams. And you've got flag football teams in youth. You've got middle school tackle football teams, high school teams, and it's absolutely going to be the same thing for high school kids looking at colleges. How that team looks impacts who wants to go and play there and who doesn't. People may not want to admit that, but I got 6 kids in sports, and that's the real world. That's just how it is. We don't have to go out and win the national title. Obviously, that'd be phenomenal. But if we could show improvement, be physical, make a bowl game, look good, get a couple of big wins, Colorado, maybe Iowa again at home, and some others as well, that would make a huge impact on recruiting next year. Also, Matt Rule's got a fresh slate. Once you get some games under your belt, people start to judge you by the results of the games, and rightfully so, and so do recruits. Obviously, it's going to take some time to build, but that's a great question, Chase B, and I agree with you. How the team looks is going to be important, okay? Notorious BIB says, do you think Carter Nelson would have an immediate impact on any team he joins? I think potentially he is a little bit lighter. How's he going to be able to block? We do have guys like Thomas Fedoni, Eric Gilbert, Nate Berkshire, guys who are fighting for that spot. I'm talking about here at Nebraska. But I remember a guy named Matt Harry, and he was only about 220 pounds, and he made an impact as a true freshman. And I'm not saying that's who Carter would be right out of the gate, but I think he could potentially make an impact. All right. Last question, because I hear that music kind of starting up, and I want to get to all the questions that we can. Todd from Auburn says, what in your opinion is the most important thing to look for in a football recruit? Now, Matt Rule's made it very clear, speed. Bobby Bowden made it very clear, speed. There's all sorts of things. If you're going to make me pinpoint one, which is really hard to do because it depends on the position. You know, with offensive linemen, you want size and athleticism and toughness. With skill guys, you want speed and can they catch. With quarterbacks, you want decision-making. If you're going to make me pin down just one pure thing, which is almost impossible to do because every position on offense and defense is so different. But Bobby Bowden said it best, speed. Either you have it or you're chasing it. Until next time, Husker Nation, go big red, and always remember, throw the ball.
Hey Hey, CNC machinist, do you feel like you're in a dead-end job with your boss hovering over your shoulder? That's so annoying. Not at Garner Industries. We provide the opportunity and trust our CNC machinists to bring the talent. I'm Bob Williams, HR Director at Garner Industries, and we are looking for new team members in our CNC department. At Garner Industries, you'll work in a clean, climate-controlled, and safe environment with team members who want to see you succeed. You will also enjoy 4-day work weeks, great benefits, and a positive working culture. Interested? Apply on our career page at garnerindustries.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this summer. Check out their new Keen and Tiva brand sandals for hiking and Olukai sandals for sitting by the pool. Plus, they're stocked up on Hey Dudes to catch you up on the latest shoe fashion. They also have shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Aetrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66 and Q in Lincoln.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place?